Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Drive Away podcast. Click. That was my seatbelt.
The first episode of the Drive Away Revisited.
Indeed. My name is Baz.
And my name is Jen.
I guess we could also be Nora and Agnes, though.
I was going to say that.
Revisiting our beloved Sentimental Value. Now, at this point, nominated for 9 Oscars, I believe.
And that's 9 too few.
You think 18? I don't think it's eligible
I
for
think
18.
it deserves every Oscar ever in the history of man.
Yeah, we'll nominate it for Best Short Film.
Yeah, I think it's short enough.
Yeah. So we're doing
what a
something
beautiful fucking film. Sorry.
Because we absolutely adore this movie, and it hits a little too close to home.
After we saw it, it was on Thanksgiving Day, and like both of us were so emotionally impacted that like I felt like I hadn't fully processed it. And then like the next like 3 weeks, all I was seeing on YouTube and Instagram and fucking Letterboxd was like so many fucking clips and interviews and little like behind the scenes and like, you know, not publisher, but like press release shit.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm sat there like, oh my God, there's so many things that like it kept stirring up all the memories of this film that like I hadn't stopped being able to think about. And like, it kept replaying them in my head. And I was like, fuck, man. And then I was like, I have to see this again. And also it's criminal that it's like the shortest episode of our podcast when it's the most impactful film I've seen in a really long time.
So let's get this shit straight out. I think for this one, we don't necessarily need to recap as much as
we're not recapping
episode. No. Let's get this shit straight out of the way. Hello?
Careful.
Hello? What are we doing, guys? Sorry.
Driving podcast.
Let's get this shit out of the way. This is our life if our dad was a movie director.
Yeah.
And we were also like in our late 20s, early 30s.
And we were Norwegian.
Yeah, that too. That part. Yeah, man.
There is a lot of like... I mean, also we're twins, but like...
Nora Borg, I see you.
Yeah.
Nora Borg, I understand you.
Yeah.
Nora Borg, I fear I may be you.
Dog, you even fucking look like her. It's crazy. But
again, I don't personally see it, but I will absolutely
not like 100%, but there's like parts of your faces that are the same, and that's what broke me about this movie the first time I watched it, to be completely honest with you. I was like, oh boy, that's dear sister right there.
It's so interesting because like I think on a more surface level, like, look at the characters, I feel like I would identify more with Agnes.
Uh-huh. Yeah, I was going to say the same damn thing, except in reverse.
And then it's when you're delving deeper into it, and, like, especially how the sisters relate to one another in the movie, and how they relate to their father, I'm like, oh, no, I'm Nora.
Yeah, no, I had this same thought, but in the reverse.
Yeah.
Baz is very subtle in presenting her deep sorrow and depression a lot of the time. I'm not. She's very good at covering it up. So that's kind of where, like, on the surface, I would say, like, very much, I would flip it. But then if you, like both of us knew exactly who the fuck we were when we watched this movie. Man.
We need to talk about, frankly, to me, I think is the scene of the movie, capital T, capital S.
All capital letters.
After Nora finally reads the script.
Yeah.
And then the talk between Nora and Agnes in Nora's bedroom. Like, that is the whole movie to me.
The movie is about like memories and loneliness, and it's about family, and sets it up as the relationship between the daughters and their father, but in reality it's like it's the relationship not of the two of them to their dad, but of their dad to Nora and of Agnes to Nora. And there's a, and with the whole theme being like memory and family and whatever, in the scene, there's a moment where, and I've heard it talked about in interviews, but like watching it again on screen, Nora, or Agnes has just said, like, you know, our childhoods are different. I had you. And Nora's like, yeah, okay. Like, she doesn't say anything, but just like, that's kind of look on her face. Yeah. And then Agnes goes, you brushed my hair, or you washed my hair. And it cuts back to Nora, and there's a look of like, wait, what? What do you, like, it's something that she never thought about. And it's so subtle in the way that Renate did it. Like, it's just like, there's such like, it's just a tiny shift, but it's, you can tell in her eyes, it's like the greatest misunderstanding, because in her mind, she's just like a fucked up, you know, piece of shit. And then her little sister's like, no, you took care of me. You washed my hair. You combed it out. Like, and those are big, important things to her that to Nora, she's never fucking thought about. But it's meant the world to Agnes, and like just the acting and the subtleties of the face there. And that's like, and now she's reliving those memories that are so important to Agnes that she hasn't even thought about because she didn't think they were doing anything. Because as far as she's concerned, she's doing her job as the older sister. And like, it's not something that she thinks had any impact. And this whole movie is about like the profound impact that you can have, or that things will have in the smallest of ways.
Hey, so I've clearly never felt any of those emotions before.
Never.
As the technically older sister, even
let's
though we
be
are
so
twins,
real though. You are.
Well, 21 minutes is
yeah,
a long
but
time
like, let's be so real. You could tell me you're 2 years older than me, and I believe you.
But yeah, and I think it's such. I really deeply adore not understated, but very internal performances.
Yes. It's impossible to pull off well, but when it's pulled off well, it is like...
it's fantastic.
This is pulling it off well.
Renate Reinsve does this so well, in like every little like micro expression and like a glance that just takes a millisecond even.
A twinge of her lips, of fucking like...
There's so much
like,
conveyed. I think there's... I'm forgetting exactly when it is, but there is this look in her eyes when she's looking at Gustav, Stellan Skarsgård, her dad, and there's just somehow in just a look, not even like a mouth facial expression, not saying any words, I get anger and also understanding of where he's coming from, and also just hurt at how this is, but also acceptance, and also like,
is it the birthday
hurt
party?
At herself. I think it is. And yeah, I have nothing but fantastic things to say about everyone in this cast. I do want to jump very fast just to make a quick little literary allusion. Starting off this movie with presenting, in 6th grade, Nora was tasked to write an essay from the perspective of an object, and she shows her house. And that house plays such a pivotal role throughout the movie of holding on to the memory, and, well, every memory, really. And just it's not really personification of a house, because, like, the house, you know, it's not like a talking animated house sort of thing, but the house is very present almost as a character itself, and as an encapsulation of like the passage of time, because so much of their family from previous generations lived and died and were born in that house.
Can I jump in here?
1 second, okay. And then you can. And it's so Virginia Woolf to me. And I know I say that like every fucking podcast, but she's one of my favorite authors. Like, that part specifically, I'm really reminded of To the Lighthouse by Virginia Woolf. What's actually interesting is not to talk about Sorry Baby, but Sorry Baby has more direct allusions to the lighthouse. But like just how the house is used as a vehicle for the themes throughout this movie, and also as a character in how like the sisters specifically interact with the house. I think it's marvelous. Go ahead.
I have so much to say about the house. So first off, I was doing my little research, and I want to shout out, I'm Jørgen Stengby Larsen, the production designer, because the house was like, they had so many blueprints and images of the house they shot. Like, they picked a house that they had 100 years worth of outdoor photos and stuff of. Uh-huh. So they fucking, because like the people who owned the house lived there since it was built. And so they had like giant LED screens for the outdoors, because they like built the interior on a soundstage that they like used. So they had LED screens at the exterior that they photo matched to the pictures of the fucking.
Wait, it was like, a set?
Yeah, it was a set.
The like not the like set at the end of the movie. It was an actual set that they filmed in, and not a house.
I'm pretty certain. Yeah.
What the actual fuck?
Well, they at least had LED screens outside the windows that they used to fucking photo match.
Oh my god!
So like they reconstructed the placement of the trees in the yard in the fucking like
That's
other buildings
crazy.
and houses. The flashback scene like of Gustav's childhood and
oh my
his
god,
aunt.
I cried.
They were shot on 16 millimeter. The rest of the film was 35.
For a bit of a joke. Do you guys ever realize that like your parents are like actually people who were children once?
Yeah, no, that's this.
Because
there's a part of this
in the Gustav flashback.
We're gonna resolve back to this in a second, because I want to stay on the house, but
yes.
I do have a big point about that in relation to Agnes and Gustav. Like just the and you can tell like the texture of the 16 millimeter as when it switches is so and like the color it's softer, and I think the color plays a really understated role in this film, but like especially with blue and red. But there's a shot
especially with like when
with
Nora,
yeah. There's a shot where Gustav as a little kid is walking outside, and the narration says like he thought there was nothing more beautiful than shadow. But right before that shot, there's like it's a very soft, it's underexposed, and there's like it almost looks through a filter, but you can see like the orange flowers and the blue sky, and it's so beautiful, and it's so textural, and it feels so like old. Like I was digging through my college's found footage bin, and I pulled that out of there, and I made it into it. Like the texture and the of the house is so good, and the way that they like wanted to have everything in the house and like the house, we see it's full of life, and then the mom dies and it is empty and devoid of life, and then they're slowly moving the production in there, and then the production falls apart. So then they strip the house bare and completely rebuild the interior, and then we cut to the relationship, like we jump forward in time to them being on the movie set in the world of the film, and within the remodeled house on the interior, and it's like the house is hanging on to so much weight and like trauma that even Gustav, when he moves into the house after he left because his mom committed suicide there, he moves out, his aunt lives there, and then after
lesbian aunt, by the
after
way.
She dies, he moves back in. The first thing we see is him stripping the fuck out of the house, painting over everything, hiding the memory, or like, he has to get rid of the things holding the memories.
And if I can interject now?
Yes, please.
To talk about, dare I say it, English, like literature 101, bare bones theme here, the giant crack in the house.
Don't get there yet. I wanted to ask you about that in 2 seconds.
Okay.
That was next on my list.
Okay. Because I know you said you had something about Agnes and Gustav.
Yeah, no, well that we're gonna get to after the house.
Oh, I see.
But yeah, like
my bad.
The house itself is the fucking physical, like Baz is not a character. I agree it's not a character, but it's the structure holding all of the memory that keeps everyone in this film tethered together, and also keeps the distance between everyone.
I need to elaborate a little bit. It's not a character in the traditional sense as much as it is like a personification of all the themes and relationships within
Yes,
it.
it is
But
memory.
also, in turn, indirectly, the characters all interact with the house. So in that way, it is kind of a character, but like the house isn't actually like physically saying anything as much as it is being interacted with, if that makes sense.
Yeah, no, I agree. But yeah, I think it's like, it is the personification of memory, and it's like the only time things get better, quote unquote, is when the house is stripped clean, given a fresh, start, and like,
especially with when it's all, even outside, when it's like painted white at the end. And this was something I said to Jen when the movie ended, is that like the relationship is never going to be perfect. It's never going to get to be 100% where you want to be, because there are so many layers underneath of whatever you've tried to strip out. But it's getting better, and it's getting cleaner, and that's a start.
Yeah.
And it's a new start.
They put a fresh white coat of paint on everything. And the thing is that it's like, it looks pristine, it looks perfectly clean, but it's not homey anymore.
No.
It is like, it is held together by threads, but it is a fresh, clean plate to start over.
It presents well.
And begin again. And that's the important thing. And that's what's really important to me personally in my own life.
Mm-hmm.
Anyways, the big ass fucking crack in the house. I wrote big ass crack in the house in my notes. Thoughts on big ass crack in the house?
So here we're going to do a little bit of textual analysis 101 with Professor Warren. Hi. So when the opening narration is talking about, Nora wrote this essay about the house, like from the perspective of the house, and it says, Gustav eventually found a flaw with the house, and that there's this big crack in the foundation, and that crack winds up going up through the wall, like through the wall, through the house. I'm pretty sure it goes into Nora's room specifically.
Yeah.
Like her childhood bedroom. And that crack is ever present. And there are 9,000,001 things you could say that the crack in the house could be. Obvious one, Nora's depression and suicidal ideation. Another one, the strained relationship between specifically Nora and Gustav, but also Agnes and Gustav. And it's the crack is a thing that it's present, it's there. It might not necessarily be directly spoken about, but it affects every single thing that happens in the house. It affects the people living in it, when it feels lighter, when it feels heavier, the noises. There's another really good shot too that this is just how I took it. I don't necessarily know if this was the intent. I believe it's in the Gustav flashback where there's a shot of the wall and there's light on the wall.
Yeah. That looks like the crack.
The light looks like the crack. And I think of that, I mean, Boy Genius referenced it, but the Leonard Cohen thing, there's a light in there's a crack in everything, and that's how the light gets in. And I don't necessarily know if that light was coming through the crack. I don't think that's possible, because the crack is like in the wall and the foundation, so it like wouldn't have been a window to like let light in. But that light is showing that, like, yes, the crack is there, but like it can be maybe a start to a good thing. But that crack is just so present, and that like in the most basic level, it is saying this is a fractured relationship. And even the connection to the house is like, yes, this was my childhood home. Yes, I grew up here and it was nice and I had a lot of good memories here. But there was still a flaw in the foundation
I was just
of the
about
house.
to say.
A flaw in the foundation of the home, a flaw in the foundation of the family, even, with how Gustav, and I think the mother's name is Cecil. And it's just ever present.
I'm going to add a yes and.
I think what's interesting to me, when towards the end of the movie, when they're stripping down the house again and painting white over everything, you don't see the crack get patched up. It's still there.
That's
they don't focus on it.
It's still there, yeah.
But it's still there.
My yes and is that glass half full. The crack is ever present. It is always there. It is the foundation itself that is irreparably broken without tearing down the whole thing. Except the house is still standing. The family is still standing. They're still talking to each other. They still love each other despite the crack in the foundation that goes to the very core of who they are. It still stands, and that means that there is hope.
Wow.
That is my hopeful read of it.
Yeah.
My last point on the house. I have so much to talk about, and we're
do
home.
Have to.
We don't have to. We're going to continue.
Why don't you go on something while I'm buying us a bottle of wine.
The first thing that Gustav enters the film, he pulls up in front of the house
in a taxi.
To
the funeral.
Steps in a taxi. The first
his
time
wife's funeral.
He walks into the door to the house. The first thing he does, he looks to the right to the room that Nora's character eventually commits suicide. Not Nora's character. The character Nora plays in the film that he wants to make commits suicide in, that his own mother committed suicide in. He looks directly into that room, pauses, then turns and looks back to Nora in the middle of a crowd of people at the funeral, disconnected from everybody else. And we hold on his expression looking at her through the crowd of people. But the first thing that he sees when he goes in there is straight to that room, the very foundation of who he is and why he's all fucked up, but simultaneously also the forward that, like, the only way he knows how to communicate with his daughter is through this film, like, that he wants her to act in, and he doesn't know how to tell her that he wants it to be specifically her, that he wrote, like, he can say, I wrote it for you, but, like, she will never understand. He wrote it for her until she reads it.
May I jump in very fast? And I think this is something that's specifically very personal to me, I think, and how I connect to this movie. But there are multiple times, that's the first of a handful of times when Gustav is looking at Nora, but he doesn't go up to her right away, and he almost, like, doesn't know what to say, like, even not even in just like an apologetic, like, I'm sorry that we have a strained relationship way. He doesn't know how to, like, talk to her in, like, a normal one-on-one conversation. And I think, like, that when he shows up at the funeral and sees her and doesn't go up to her, like, he doesn't know how to comfort his own daughter at her mom's funeral. And it just hits, man. It's like, not to get too deep into everything, but it's just like, it adds up. I understand and I see. I'm going to talk about the torture scenes and stuff. Yep, you go for that. My wine. So the first time I watched this movie, the first time that I was fully moved to tears was the scene where Agnes is in the library and she's learning about her great aunt's, the imprisonment her great aunt went through. Or sorry, not her great aunt, her grandmother, Gustav's mom, that eventually drove her to commit suicide. And the shift, like, we don't even see specific, like, there's no pictures of the torture. There's pictures of reenactments of the torture that Agnes is looking at, but there's no direct pictures. And that's almost more and as someone who doesn't speak Norwegian, I'm only getting the little pieces of the text in the files, and it's like the scraps of it was enough to drive me to tears, because I know that this was a real thing that happened, and without even having to be connected to it, and the fact that their grandmother's name was only one dot in a case of 100 people. And Agnes's reaction to that is very incredibly human and moving, but the most impactful part there is that she's looking at it from the perspective of, oh my fucking God, this was my dad's mom, and I'm thinking about my dad here. And her dad was only 7 years old when it happened. And so then the next time we see her, she's looking out the window at her own, like, 8 to 10-year-old son, and is picturing herself, like, you can tell just by the look on her face, picturing herself, and, like, what if I just did that? And then it recontextualized the whole thing with the movie that Gustav is trying to make, and she gets it and she understands. And so then she goes outside, and, like, her son's playing with Gustav, and she just walks up to him and hugs him. And it's like there's this deep moment of empathy and, like, understanding, as, like, she gets it, and, like, it's not a forget, but she understands why he can't talk. She understands why he can't say these things, because it's, like, it's so baked into all of that. And yeah, it's really good. Agnes is, like, the goat of this film for me. Inga Ibsdotter Lilleaas, in a movie with every single person giving a phenomenal performance, she is giving the best one.
Yeah. She like
I'm not afraid to say it.
I learned that Joachim, is that ours? Joachim wrote this film for Renate and Stellan, and it took 6 months to cast Agnes.
Yeah.
Because they wanted someone who could like...
And she's, I think, a relative new...
They wanted a new person. Yeah. But yeah, that's my next thoughts, because I have so many thoughts. I'm sorry.
Can I jump on one
that
is fresh in my mind? I don't know if you've mentioned this at all, but this is also at the birthday party. And this, I kind of made this joke in my Letterboxd review, which you'll see at the end of this video. There's when Nora is really upset and angry with Gustav. And she's saying like, not essentially like you don't care about us, but like you weren't there for us. And like, it sometimes it feels like you having us is like, it's you feel like it's the worst thing that has happened to you. And then Agnes is like, hey, like don't exaggerate. But Nora is upset and she's angry. And it's Gustav winds up saying like, you know, what, hold on, sorry, I'm getting the mail.
Is it about having children?
No.
I have something about
it's when he says, I see so much of myself in you, and like you're so angry, like you don't want to be angry, you don't want to live like that. And for little old me, who got told constantly growing up by not just my father, but other people as well, that I'm so much like my father, that one hurts. Straight up,
two thoughts
that one hurts.
To build off there.
Can I finish very fast?
Yeah.
Sorry. It's just, as someone who had and has a lot of anger at my father for various things that have happened, it's rare that I see this reflected in a movie, not only just like so well, but also like very realistically.
Yeah.
Because I think a lot of it's, again, not understated, but Renate and also Stellan in this scene do so much with so little in their expressions, that it is just, it doesn't feel like I'm watching a movie. It feels like I'm honestly watching my own life, but just like watching people interact. Like that is a father and daughter.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I love in the birthday scene, there's such a dichotomy there. There's a line that Gustav says where he's like, oh, you'll never regret having children. And when he says that, it's entirely focused on Nora, because it's such a fucking masculine point of view, because he literally had nothing to do with raising his own fucking kids. He's just like, he gets to enjoy them now, but like he had none of the emotional labor that women are often left with, and it's on her because she doesn't want children, and like she doesn't want to have, and it's like, I love that subtle choice there.
Nora struggles with intimacy as well.
Yeah, she struggles with intimacy, she struggles with love,
people.
And
close to, I would say men specifically.
Yeah, men specifically.
But in general as well.
Yeah. I also, then the other side of it was the anger point where, the first thing we see of Nora, her first time she's acting, she comes on stage screaming at a guy in a priest costume, aka a father. And she is loudly confronting a father for betraying her.
And you know the first word she says to him?
What?
Here.
Like,
hear me, listen to me.
Yeah. It's incredible. And I like that it also shows the split in their kind of approach to art, where like Gustav is very unflinching and like unapologetic, and he is who he is, and he is making the art that and he's very highbrow and full of himself. But simultaneously, like, there's too much of himself in there, whereas I feel like Nora approaches art where she doesn't want any of herself in there, and she's also very anxious about it, and very, like, when she's on stage, she's good, but getting to the point where she can do the thing. So they're like polar opposites in that way. And then Agnes is the third one, is just completely removes herself, doesn't want to be involved in it.
Talking Nora specifically and how she connects to her job as an actress, a theater actress, because Gustav hates theater. And I'm gonna say it verbatim because I don't remember the exact phrasing that was used, but Nora says that she likes being an actress because she can approach a character's emotions from the state of like seeing them as another person. And it's not directly said, but it's very heavily implied that like she will play characters going through the character's emotions as if she were unpacking her own, but it's easier for her because it's not herself.
Exactly.
And
relatable.
Hey, why don't we play Dungeons and Dragons?
And she also steps out of blue light directly onto the stage, out of her own fucking head and depression and shit, because blue is her very like internal.
And then when she goes to play Hamlet later, she steps out of red light.
Yep, because she's fucking pissed off.
And that's another thing too, is that Gustav, I feel like we've been talking good of Gustav a lot of the time, and like this is true. Gustav is not nice all the time, frankly. And
he stands up for Rachel, but he won't stand up for his own daughter.
Yes. And whenever Nora is always saying like, I don't care what anybody else thinks. What do you think? I want to know what you think about this. And he's always like, oh, like theater's not for me. Like, it doesn't matter what I think. And he's just...
But to her, it's the only thing that matters.
He's not supportive of her in what she does unless it's through a lens that he wants her to do.
Exactly.
Specifically the camera lens, but I didn't mean it in that directing way. But Nora is constantly calling out for him, not necessarily directly, but in saying like, I want to know what you think. I want you to be there. Please come to my show. And it's at the birthday party scene as well, where he's like, oh, like being an actor sucks. Like you don't get to do your own thing. And like, he's essentially trashing what she does to a room full of people. And he's like, oh, like you don't want to wait for some like old guy to say you can play Ophelia or whatever. And she's like, actually, I'm playing Hamlet rather. Sorry. Hamnet, great movie. Actually, I'm playing Hamlet. Like she's the lead. Yeah. And it's like, she's like, you don't even care enough to know that like, that is what I would be doing. Yeah. Man, shall we head in?
I have 2 points.
Oh, and then you want to wrap it? Okay, cool. Let me close this for now then.
The first one being, when he's working through the scene with Rachel, Elle Fanning's character.
At which point? Is this before or after she dyes her hair?
Before she dyes her hair. It's with the mom.
Oh, Ingrid?
And it's the first time
the mom actress.
Yeah. He goes, you're ashamed for, and he looks down at his script, and he sits there on the tip of his tongue, and you're ashamed for being weak. Sits there, looks at the script, goes, okay, and then it's so about him in that way, because it's like, I feel like it was such a self-admitted, thing of, that was so hard for him to say, whereas, if he's directing, he's like, you're ashamed about, it was such an internal Gustav thing that I found was really enlightening to the character. Yeah. Because I don't think that Gustav would say that his own daughter is weak. Right. So it's very much a part of himself, because it's a script about his mom. That's not true. He says it's a script about, or it's not a script about his mom, and he gets very adamant about it later on, where she keeps asking him what is it about your mom, and he goes, no, this is not about my mother, and sits there, and we pause on a long fucking reflection of him saying it's not about his mother, because it's about fucking Nora, and we the audience don't really know that yet, but he knows that, and the film knows that, and it sits there with it. And it gives you, on that moment, that rewatch, I sat there and wow, they were fucking telling us early fucking on, it's about Nora.
I think the thing, not to push back on what you said, because I agree, but I'm adding on, of how Gustav, like, wouldn't necessarily say that his daughter is weak. And I think it can be true of multiple things. Of it is about him, and it may also be about feelings about his mother. But also, the whole crux of this script is that even though he maybe wasn't physically there for Nora, when, like, she attempted suicide, he somehow, like, knows and understands, even if he can't communicate that verbally. Like, it's through his script. And I don't necessarily, I think it might have been a layered thing of, like, he doesn't necessarily view her as weak, but, like, in a way to try to convey it to Rachel, of saying, like, this might be how you feel in this moment. Which also, and before we jump to this other point, because I haven't brought it up, I've seen people online hating Elle Fanning in this movie. And I need to go on a tirade for a second supporting her, because, I mean, not only are we just big Elle Fanning fans in general here at the Drive-Away, but also it is again, in a movie full of them, it is a fantastically layered performance, because Elle Fanning is an actress playing an actress who is a good actress, and then she wants to do this movie with Gustav. I'm sorry. Rachel wants to do this movie with Gustav, but it's not the right fit. And she's she's a good actress when she's going through this script, and, like, you can see that she has this talent, but you can tell that it's just not clicking. And, like, the ability, and then also to have this character recognize that and say, I really want to work, like, I want to work with you. I think you're fantastic, Gustav. But, like, we both know I'm not the right fit for this.
And the fact that she had enough oomph to, like, say it herself.
And I think it would be
and that's
very
something he
easy,
points out as well.
It would be a very easy for an actress or an actor other than Elle Fanning to just, like, portray it a little bit more one note of just, like, Rachel being a bad actress.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But the fact that, like, Elle is able to convey that she's
portray a talented
actress, like, not sure what to do.
Incredible.
Oscar nomination deserved.
Incredible.
That's my tirade about Elle Fanning.
Incredible.
And I would say that I have nothing but amazing things to say about all of the actors in this movie.
There's that one spot where Renate and Elle are talking, and Elle has
in the
like,
theater.
yeah, and she's like, oh yeah, she has this such immense sadness
God,
about her.
Stop! No,
and Renate's face, fucking in that scene where she's like, wait, what the fuck did you just say about me? But it's also not about me, but it is about me.
Because Rachel says to Nora, this character has so much sadness to her, but I don't know if that's what's at the center of everything or if it's a symptom of something else.
Yes.
And
that fucking gags Nora.
And I burst into tears in the theater because I'm like, hey, actually,
fuck you.
What the fuck? Why would you say that to me? Actually, what the hell? I know we've said, like, the scene. I feel like the more
we're gonna go back to the scene.
The more we talk about this movie, the more I'm like, actually, maybe there's like 4 of the scenes.
Yeah,
you know what I mean.
My final point about this film, the final thing I have to talk about, it's in the scene. This is the reason we're making this episode.
Yep.
I learned something on the internet.
Okay.
From Inga. In Norway, in Norwegian, the language, in Sweden, and Scandinavian countries, I love you is a saying reserved only for, like, your children or, like, your parents, but really only for your children. Like, it's not something you say to your sister. It's not something you really say, like, you know, not to your friends. Like, it's very...
Are you talking, like, the translated...
Yeah.
I love you. Like, so the phrase in Norwegian is not something that you would say. It's
only explicitly used in, like, that context.
Mm-hmm.
And in the scene, not only Inga Agnes was, or the actress, the real life actress Inga was, like, they were playing out that scene without them hugging. And she was sat there and, like, she was just sat there thinking, like, oh my God, I just want to hold her. I just want to hug her. But she, like, didn't know because she was kind of the new dog in the
Yeah, like Renate, Stellan, and Elle are all more established actors than her, so she's that
Joachim
kind of
was
insecurity.
like, you should hug her, like locked into exactly what so then she goes and hugs her, and as they're hugging, she just feels this, like, she sits there and she's like, oh my God, I would say I love you here, even though I would never say I love you. I would say, this is, and so then she says it, and then there's like this moment of pause, and then
Nora laughs
and says it back.
Well, it's a translation thing too, because in the English subtitles, I unfortunately don't speak Norwegian. In the English subtitles, Agnes says, "I love you," and then Nora kind of like laughs for a second, and she says, "Love you." Yeah, no, I love you.
Yeah,
and I think that must be the differentiating between the phrases in Norwegian.
Yeah. It's something that, like, I didn't pick up on before,
mm-hmm.
and I would never have picked up on. But knowing it now recontextualized not that whole scene, but also the whole fucking movie for me, in the way of, like, just the level of relationship and impact in, like, the way that they feel, and knowing that that's not something that's said. Because it's, again, I didn't even pick up on the fact that it's never said throughout the film, but I thought that was just, like, a script thing or whatever, because everyone's so tense. It feels so cathartic and so beautiful and profound, and I really like this movie a whole awful lot.
Yeah.
And ending this film with no dialogue, but just a look between Nora and Gustav is like just the look of approval and the smiles.
Well, dare I say,
not even
it's
approval.
not even approval. It's just
this is it.
No, it's a look of acknowledgement.
Yeah.
It's a look of saying...
He sees her, she sees him.
Yes, exactly.
They see each other.
And you know what? It's still not perfect, and it will never be, but, like, again,
the house still stands.
Even if it's a set.
Incredible.
Hey, Jen.
Hey, Baz.
I love you.
I love you, too.
Yeah.
It's staying 5 stars with a like.
I don't know what I'm supposed to say next. You haven't asked me a question.
I had to ask you a question.
Yep.
Is your review still 5 stars and a like?
That's not the question I answered.
What's your letterbox review?
My letterbox review is 5 stars and a like.
Thank you very much. Okay, bye.
Bye. All right, hey everyone. Actually, really quick,
we're not done with this shit yet.
Surprisingly,
10 minutes later.
we cracked open a bottle of wine. This is just a quick note. I, as an English major, feel very ashamed that I didn't have this realization earlier than I did. When I was talking earlier and kind of struggling with describing the house as a character, but not really, thematic analysis of that, I just had the realization. The house signifies Nora's mind as a child when she's in grade 6 writing that essay, where the narration is describing how when Nora was writing the essay, she wondered if the house preferred to be full or empty, if it liked its floors being trodden on and danced on, if it felt pain at all. And then she eventually kind of determined that the house liked to be full, but the house hated silence. And when her dad left, all the noise that he had, even when the noise was fighting with his wife, Nora's mom, the noise left, and all that was left was silence, and the house hated silence. And I
have to say something bold here. I don't know that it's true.
Yep.
But most scenes that are focused on Nora's perspective, no score, silence in the background. It kept pissing me off that the theater next to us was so goddamn loud and ruining it. But every scene that's like major for Nora, there's no score, no nothing. Whereas with fucking Gustav, there's fucking score. He's driving to his friend's place. There's there's always music with Gustav. There's always noise, and there's so much silence and quiet with Nora's scenes. That is my take.
Because when she was living in that house, her main memories of the house are of the silence after the noise and the sound. When it said the house missed the other sounds that he made, specifically Gustav made, I honestly think there's a part of her that might have, in some way, is romanticizing the fighting between her parents of missing those sounds, because at least they were a family at that point and everyone was still together under the same roof. And like she determines that the house probably liked to be full, and then when her father left, the house got lighter. And like immediately saying, as tough of a relationship I have with him and as strained as it is, I want him there. And that's shown throughout the whole movie of her characterization. Sorry, the wine's hitting a little bit.
A girl just wants her dad.
A girl just wants her dad, even if it's fucked up. Like, okay, that's my addendum.
That ain't me.
That's my literature major analysis. This will probably be tacked on at the end of the video, would be my guess.
Yes.
Yeah. All right. Have fun, guys. Bye.
I love my dad.